They say, do you have any questions for us? And you're going to say, as a matter of fact, I do. We have a bombshell sponsor. I would like to thank CIGA Design for sponsoring this portion of today's video. So guys, when CIGA Design reached out to me, I was so impressed with the beautiful jewelry that they had. More importantly, I was so flattered that they pre-selected a beautiful watch. I absolutely love it. So guys, this is the Series R Denmark Rose. And then it does have this beautiful necklace. So let me give you a few of the things that I loved about the watch. So a couple of the things that I loved is that number one, it is so dainty. It is so soft and feminine looking. It is very romantic. And it also has this beautiful sleek design. Another thing that I noticed about the watch is that it has this beautiful, so this is actually like a 3D feel. So it is layered, literally the silver, I'm trying to see if you guys can see the details. The silver on the watch is literally layered like a beautiful rose. It is so pretty. All right guys, so what I'm gonna do is leave all of the details below of the actual watch that I am wearing. A couple of things that I do want to add is that number one, this watch does come in a total of 3 variations. Again, I am wearing the mechanical watch with the transparent back, but this watch does come in leather strap quartz as well as the steel strap quartz. So guys, make sure you head over to the award-winning CIGA Design today. Again, I would like to thank CIGA Design for sponsoring this portion of today's video.
I can turn the stripper to a diva. Chinchilla on her, that's a Peter. Shot might be gone up the needle. Body start gone like the Beatles. I took styrofoam to the meeting. Free cell phone with the breathing. Got a bitch waiting in the lounge. I done had to move a few pounds. Looking at my chain, don't drown. Ain't to put the diamonds in the mouth. All bad bitch pop out. When a nigga stepping at the house. Every day we walk the red carpet. Every day one of my hoes following them. Every day we walk the red carpet. Every day one of my hoes following them.
Hey y'all, so I am actually getting ready to film a sponsorship really quick. So I have been up since early, but some kind of way time got away from me, but that's okay, girl. We're about to get the sponsorship filmed, and then I think what we're gonna do, this is really gonna be content dedicated to interviewing and work related things, career related things. So we're gonna do it vlog style, because I know you guys, it'll probably be you know, you can digest it a little bit better, you know, so we'll do it like that. We'll go over some interview tips, and you know what I want to do is take you guys through an actual, like, the process. So we do the interview, you know, the what do you do after the interview, and then of course the if you get a follow-up interview request, and then we'll go through the process of where you we'll go through the process of you accepting the offer, your first day at work on a new job. Let me see what else. So first day at work on a new job, I'll kind of tell you guys how I handle you know, things kind of outside of work, things meaning like lunch breaks, and how I kind of deal with that. And then, you know, I'm trying to think, I wanted to give you guys some tips on something else, but I can't think about it, girl, because I'm too busy trying to get dressed for this sponsorship. So anyway, let me see. So I said we'll do interview tips, the process after the interview, work related things. Gosh, I can't, y'all forgive me, I can't think. Anyway, let me get this sponsorship film real quick, and then when I come back, we'll start going over all of the career related stuff. All right, y'all, so I just finished editing a video. Guys, let me say this. I see why people charge so much to do videos. The video that I just finished editing was only 2 minutes, but because there was an issue with the necklace and, you know, just a lot of technical stuff, I had to get very creative on the editing. So girl, I'm tired. So anyway, I'm making some chili. I wanted to come back and check in with you guys, but what I'm about to do is make some notes because I don't want to miss any points. Also, guys, this video today is January the 30th. This video is going to go up on January the 31st, which is tomorrow. So I want to apologize if I fall short on the editing. You know, if it's not as tight as it normally is, but I really want to get this video out to you guys tomorrow. I literally just received a message, like a comment from one of you beautiful bombshells, and guys, she was just saying that she's been pigeonholed into the call center environment, you know, but she really, you know, she's really focused on getting out. And so it's kind of like you guys receive that content so well, so I just want to make this a great video, but I'm sorry, you know, time ran over or whatever. And so, guys, I'm gonna be honest, y'all, this video is just gonna be cut and dry. So anyway, let me eat my po man chili, and then I'm gonna call y'all back after I write out all of my notes and stuff like that. So I'll see you guys in a minute. All right, y'all, let's get started. So I tried to put you know, somewhat of a professional look together, so you know, this could still, you know, kind of be on the lines of professionalism. Y'all know I love y'all because baby, it is after 10 o'clock, but we still about to do this. So anyway, let me just throw this little disclaimer in here. Guys, y'all are pretty familiar with me, to my new bombshells. Let me just say this. I can be naturally funny and cynical. I don't mean any harm by it, but that's just my personality. So I'm gonna be honest. We're gonna do this little interview. We're gonna do the interview tips and some other stuff, but we gonna have some laughs too. Okay, let's get started. So one of the things that I wrote down, or one of the first things that I wrote down, is always research the company before the interview. So once you have landed the actual interview, what you want to do is go in the company's website and you want to scrub through the data. You want to write down things or memorize. Well, I'm gonna be honest, I would write the stuff down. In fact, I would actually type it up because it's okay to take, you know, a few notes with you. But I would type the stuff up really neatly, you know, or either put it on my iPad really neatly and just have those notes. And so you can have a little bit of knowledge about the company. A lot of times when you do that, companies are very, very impressed. So that is absolutely one of the tips that I will give you. In fact, when I interviewed for my position in the robotics engineering firm, one thing that I knew is that the company was taking an initiative to start a lighting project in Ukraine, and this was like years and years ago. And so the person that was interviewing me had no idea. Another thing that I did find out about the company was that at the time, ABB was one of the, basically like a company that hired more Black graduating engineers than any other company in the United States at that time. When I went in the interview and I told the person that was interviewing me, when I told him that, it knocked his socks off. So definitely try to get information, retain information about the company. And so you can, that's gonna set you apart from other candidates. Also, always research the person that is interviewing you, guys. One thing that I found out about really being great at interviewing is that people's favorite subject are themselves. Again, when I interviewed in the past, I did research the person that was interviewing me, and girl, I found out that he and I had the same graduation date. We both graduated from college on May the 15th of 2015. And so I was able to use that personal information about him because first of all, it was a huge milestone, but it was also very personal. And, so I was able to use that to kind of gain a little bit of leverage. So just always be prepared to have a little bit of knowledge about the person that is interviewing you. And again, that's going to set you apart from a lot of the other people that are interviewing for the position. Another thing that you want to do in regards to researching the person that is interviewing you, make sure that you kind of look at their role. And the reason why I'm suggesting this is because what I found is people who are in very high positions do not typically interview candidates. So again, in the past, I've interviewed with CEOs, I've interviewed with vice presidents of departments and of the company. And because I did that, I knew that this is not a guy that's sitting up interviewing people every day. This is typically a guy that's working on different projects and, business development and things of that nature. And because I knew that, again, I was able to gain leverage. And so when I went in the interview and I was extremely articulate and extremely polished, I was able to win the interviewer over. So, and then also when you have people in high positions like that that are interviewing you, they are really looking at you as a leader. Like they're looking at you like, wow, if I put her in this position, I probably won't have to do too much. They're probably going to feel like they're not going to have to do too much coaching and that type of thing, or you won't need as much coaching and you will be able to, as they say in corporate America, she was able to hit the ground running. She came in here, she took off, and we love that. And so that's how you want people that's how you want people to feel about you when you go on the interview. One more thing that I'm going to kind of throw in on that is also, guys, always be prepared for the person that was initially supposed to interview you to not be available. So you still want to make sure that your answers are pristine. You still want to make sure that you're showing up very confident and you have all the other knowledge that is going to ultimately help you land the position. Guys, please never get too comfortable in an interview. Do not ever get too comfortable, because typically what I have learned with human resources as well as other people who are used to interviewing people, they purposefully, I guess that's the word, or on purpose, they will get comfortable on purpose just to see how comfortable you're gonna get. And they also do that just to see like what you're gonna be willing to reveal. And a lot of times I've known of situations where people got so comfortable in the interview, they didn't get the job. That's one of the things that I would hear a lot of the managers and people like that talk about. They would be like, yeah,
she was way too comfortable. She joked around a lot, and it just made me feel like she was not going to be able to complete the duties of the position.
It's nothing wrong with showing your personality, but this is a time where you want to be very professional. You want to smile occasionally. I will be honest, I typically don't do a lot of smiling when I would interview. I wouldn't do a lot of smiling because I was there for business. I wasn't there to win a beauty contest, and I wasn't there to make any friends. I was there to get the job, baby. So so you definitely you don't want to get too comfortable in your interview. Okay. All right. This is a doozy right here. When you are asked the question, tell me about yourself, They are not asking you if your favorite show is Jerry Springer. They don't want to know that you like going to the flea market on the weekend. They don't want to know that you like smoking hookah. They don't want to know that you like to drink.
1738.
They don't want to know none of that. When you are asked, tell me about yourself, what you want to do is make sure that you are telling them about your professional background, achievements, contributions. Keep it professional. Do not deviate. They don't want to know that you be helping taking care of your Uncle Leroy. They don't want to know that you sell fish plates at the church house. They don't want to know none of that. They want you to tell them about your professional growth and development. Be prepared to answer the question about your biggest flaw. So typically you want to take an actual weakness and turn it into a strength, or you want a strength and make it turn into a weakness. Now, I typically try to answer this question in all honesty because I know that one of my biggest flaws is that I am a workaholic. And so typically when I will say I'm a workaholic, a lot of times I will get the response back from the person interviewing me. They'll be like, well, that's better than being an alcoholic. So I've often heard that a lot. But yeah, so what I would say is that, one of my biggest flaws is that I am a workaholic, and unfortunately it causes me to compromise work-life balance, and that is a very unhealthy habit, and I understand that it is something that I need to correct. But I am dedicated and I am very motivated, and I often like to get the job done. I do not like to leave projects on my desk at the end of the day, and so sometimes if that means that I have to stay after work a little bit longer just to ensure that those projects are completed, I will. And so that's typically how I would answer a question. Maybe it wouldn't be that long-winded, but that's just an example of a weakness. You don't want to go on a job and tell people that you're a perfectionist, because oftentimes if you say that you're a perfectionist, they're going to think that you will not be able to finish projects unless every little detail is done. And guys, remember that done is better than perfect. So you don't want to tell them that you're a perfectionist, because typically that's more of a character flaw. So yeah, so I just wanted to share that with y'all. So let's go on to the next tip. This is another one that I think is extremely important, and this is kind of centered around: do not feel like you have to know the answer to every question. I've gone on interviews, and as confident as I am, if I don't know the answer, either one, I'm gonna say, do you mind if we come back to that question? Or two, I'm gonna be extremely honest. I'm gonna say, honestly, I don't know, but what I can tell you is that I am dedicated, I am motivated, and I am uniquely qualified for this position. No, I don't know the answer, but I guarantee you, if I am the candidate chosen for this job, I will give it my all in terms of learning everything that needs to be learned in regards to this position. So I would typically say something like that. People are going to respect you more than you just sitting up trying to make something up, because people can tell when you don't know. So if you don't know, I probably wouldn't say I don't know, but I would definitely give an educated answer in regards to, I would just give a very educated answer in regards to not knowing what it is that they're asking me for. So let me say this, guys, we are emerging and we are moving away from those face-to-face interviews. I do understand that a lot of times interviews are going to be in the form of a Zoom call. So in the event that your interview is in the form of a Zoom call, number one, you want to make sure that your background is clean. You want to make sure that there is nothing out of place. You want to make sure that you have a very quiet environment and that you are able to stay focused. And honestly, guys, I would still dress the part. Even if I am not physically going to see someone face to face, I would still put myself together as if I was actually going to an interview on a face-to-face basis. So you want to do that. Also, guys, make sure that you have very good lighting. Make sure that you're in a well-lit area. And so that's something else. I'm going to be very honest with you. Like if I was in a position where I was currently interviewing, I personally would try to interview, you know, maybe against a wall, because I'm gonna be honest, I don't want people, you know, kind of just seeing my background. That's not something that I would want people to see. And the reason why I say that is because sometimes people make judgments off of your background. And not that I'm embarrassed or anything, but I just wouldn't want someone looking in my background like, oh, she looked like she doing pretty good to me. She don't need this job. You know, I wouldn't want a situation like that. So if you can, I would try to get in a very well lit area. And then I'm gonna be honest, girl, I would interview against a blank canvas, because you ain't want them looking all in the background, you know, looking at the things that you have and stuff like that. And they think that you're doing pretty good. And so, yeah, just keep those things in mind. But ultimately, you'll make the best decision for you. But whatever it is, just make sure it's clean, okay? Also, guys, be prepared for the question regarding regarding obstacles that you face, because there are definitely going to be questions where people are going to be like, tell me about a time. They're going to want you to tell them about a time that you had to overcome something, or tell them about a time you had to make a difficult decision. I'm gonna give y'all a quick story time. When I used to work for Verizon Wireless many moons ago, I had a supervisor, and she had to basically interview a couple of new candidates to come into the company. Well, when she came back from the interview, she was telling me, she was like, I interviewed this girl, and I asked her, tell me about a time where you either had to overcome an obstacle or you had to take part in making a very solid decision. And so she said the girl's response was, well, I mean, I ain't really necessarily have to overcome no obstacles, but it was a time where I had to help my friend make a decision. And she was like, y'all, and this is a true story. She said the girl was like, my friend had got pregnant by this dude, and I had told her, girl, you need to deal with that. You need to deal with that. And I was like, are you serious? And so she was like, girl, I mean, you need to get rid of that. You need to deal with that. And so basically the girl was like, that was an obstacle, or that was something that she had to assist in helping someone overcome. You do not. Guys, please, you do not want to. I don't think any of my bombshells would answer a question like that. But guys, people really go on these interviews and they answer questions like that. But they're more or less talking about an obstacle that you faced at work. And so the way that I would answer that question, you guys can even use what happened to me, for example. So when I first started working in a call center environment, I was not able to multitask. And so, for example, if I was talking on the phone to a customer, I was really unable to talk and type at the same time. Unfortunately, this caused my productivity to really decline. And so what I ended up doing is creating this tool, and the tool was called Quick Notes. And Quick Notes is something that I typed up. It was just a Word document. And what I would do is literally type up any possible question as well as any possible outcome and resolution. And so I would know, like, as soon as the customer called in, I would go to my Quick Notes and I would already copy and paste that actual note into the comment section, and then I would just go back and edit it accordingly. And guys, I was able to shave off so much time in terms of talking to customers. As a result of this, Verizon Wireless actually started using that particular tool all throughout different call centers and stuff. And so me creating Quick Notes ultimately saved my job. And so not only was that a huge obstacle, but I created a tool in the interim that not only helped me, it helped everybody. And so you guys can use that. You can talk about a time where you were not thriving, and then you came up with some type of concept, and it really helped you increase your productivity. So you can say something like that. Another thing that I want to encourage you guys, especially to my bombshells that are going to an actual interview face to face, guys, always be nice to the receptionist, because that is the eyes and ears of the company. So you want to make sure that you are nice to her or to him, because ultimately they will go and report back and let the interviewer or HR know that you were exceptionally rude. Also, guys, another thing that I want to say is that if you go on an interview and your interview is at 1, guys, keep in mind that if you are on time, you are late, and if you are 15 minutes early, you are on time. So I just want to say that. Again, I don't know if those rules still apply, because I really don't know if people are interviewing face to face, but if they are, please keep those things in mind. Please show up 15 minutes early to the job, to the interview. Another thing that I would like to tell you guys is that if you are not great with directions like me, I suck when it comes to directions. Typically, when I would go on a job interview, I would literally drive to the job site the day before. And so I would know exactly how to get there. So that's something else that that I want to tell you. Another thing, and these are just things that I'm just kind of rambling off the top. Another thing that I'm going to tell you is that for all of my bombshells that are extremely nervous about landing a job, or to all of my bombshells that have not interviewed in ages, one of the things that I would do when I would actually go to my interview is play Pharrell's Because I'm Happy. So I don't know if you guys know that song. I'll put a little snippet in here. Y'all know I love putting a little snippet in the videos.
Cause I'm happy.
Clap along if you feel like a room without a roof.
You're gonna listen to that song. That song is really gonna help you, kind of be able to, have a different mindset and be more upbeat in your interviews. And so you can listen to that, or you can listen. Another song that I would listen to on the way to my interviews or before interview is Yolanda Adams, I Got the Victory.
'Cause I got the victory, and that's why I'm still here. Got the victory.
And then another song that I would encourage that you guys listen to is Encourage Yourself.
Sometimes you gotta look in the mirror and tell yourself I can make it. You gotta remember, I'm more than a conqueror.
And so, guys, those are some things that I would do. Even though I felt fully prepared for my job interviews, those are just some extra little tips that I would like to give you. Another thing that I would like to talk to you guys about is explaining employment gaps on your resume. Guys, please don't feel overwhelmed when it is time to explain a gap on your resume. Now, I'm gonna say this. If there are companies and they're judging you because you did not work from 2020 into 2021, I would encourage that you maybe reconsider working for that company, because guys, we were all out of work during that time, during the pandemic. And so we were all out of that time. But if you guys have gaps on your resume that are just a little bit longer, you can do what I've done in the past, and that's kind of putting a blanket employment on my resume. And what I mean by that is blanket employment. So say you guys have been going to the same church, we'll just say since 2015. What I would do if I were you is put that position, say that you work for Bethel, Baptist Church. What I would do is put process manager of operations, for example, on my resume, and I would put that I held that role since 2015, and I am currently in that role. So you guys can do that, and that way it does look like you still have gainful employment. Of course, the employer is going to ask about that, and you can either let them know that you will be able to submit your 2 weeks notice in the event that you land the position, or it's a position that you would be able to rotate to on the weekends. Guys, please don't try to give too much detail about this, because you don't want them fishing around because really, ultimately, all we're trying to do is just fill in the gap. So that's all we're trying to do. Also, guys, make sure that you have someone that is going to vouch for you in that position. So make sure you calling Sister Mary Joseph, Sister Bartholomew, you calling Bernie, Bernard. Make sure that you have someone that can vouch for you that you are currently holding that position. And so that's also going to help you gain leverage in terms of the task that you could have possibly performed. Now, y'all listen, it don't have to be the truth. Because we're not talking about telling the truth here, girl. We're just trying to get a job. So it doesn't have to be true whether you held a position or not. Just put it on there. That way, that completely kills the conversation about, tell me about the gaps in your resume. Okay, so I just wanted to address that. All right, let's get down to the meat and potatoes. So now we are moving along in the interview. Things are going well, and now it is time to have a discussion about salary. So as I told you in the previous vlog, guys, you want to make sure that you are not the one discussing salary. You want to make sure that the person bringing up salary is the person that is interviewing you. You guys also want to make sure that you are prepared. You want to make sure that you are prepared to address the salary question. My advice to you guys who are so afraid to negotiate your salary, guys, look for positions where the salary is currently posted. That way, that kind of puts you out. You're not in a position where you're having to do these hard negotiations. Now, I will tell you guys about this. One thing about me, I'm hardcore when it comes to negotiating. But guys, I'm gonna be honest, I've been through so much in my career. I'm pretty fearless and I'm pretty rigid. So I don't mind asking for what I want. And another thing is I will not accept a position that's not willing to give me what I want, because I do feel that my demands are pretty reasonable. However, guys, I'm a lot more seasoned, and so I can understand how that could sound terrifying to some of you guys. And so let me just say this in regards to salary, guys. If you are asked what salary you expect, you want to have already done your research in regards to, number one, what your skills and qualifications are in comparison to what the position is offering. So for example, if the position is paying you anywhere from $85,000 to $100,000, but you know that you probably have maybe 2 years of experience in a position that is a little bit more senior, what I would encourage that you guys do is maybe ask for about $88,000 to about $92,000 for that position, because what you don't want to do is pigeonhole yourself or get a lowball salary. And so unfortunately, when you lowball yourself, I'm going to be honest, guys, people are kind of looking at you a certain way. You know, they're making certain judgments of you. So at least if you were to go in and you were to ask for $88,000 to about $92,000, they do view you as a little bit more confident. But now that we're thinking about it, if a position is offering $85,000, I'm gonna be honest, I would try to get, you know, a little bit further away from the $85,000, and I would probably say, I'm gonna be honest, guys, I would say I would probably ask for about $89,000 to about $93,000. So that would be a little bit better. Because maybe they're expecting someone who doesn't have as much experience to kind of come in and go directly to the $85,000. And so that is what I would recommend that you would do in terms of salary negotiating, especially if it's a huge gap like that. You know what I'm saying? So, all right, guys, another thing that I would like to let you know is that you always want to be prepared for a second interview. So it is possible that they will call you back for a second interview. Make sure that you are prepared. Make sure that you start looking at different questions. I would get on YouTube and I would research questions for a second job interview, because typically if they do that, you're now really being considered as a really strong candidate, and so the questions may get a little bit more tough. Also, guys, make sure that you are preparing yourself for a panel interview. There are going to be times where you will have an interview of 2 or 3 people, so just make sure that you are prepared for that. All right, guys, so now that you have gotten through the interview, one thing that I would strongly encourage that you do is always send a thank you email. But in your thank you email, you want to go over specific points that you guys discussed, because you do not want to send a thank you email that just sounds generic. You know, hi Bob, I would like to thank you for taking the time out to talk to me today. You want to be very specific. You want to say, hi Bob, this is Rochelle. I just want to take the time to thank you for today's interview. I just wanted to take the time to express my gratitude. I truly enjoyed learning more about your organization, and I feel that I would be a great fit. I specifically enjoyed whatever it is that you guys talked about in length. So I would put about 2 to 3 points there, and then I would just close it out like that. Okay, so that's something that I would do. And that is in your thank you letter. And then one more thing that I do want to add is, guys, make sure you're asking questions in the interview. You want to know why the position is available. You want to know what the expectations are. So you want to you don't want to get in the interview and just get beat up on. You know what I'm saying? You want to come in there and you don't want to be too cocky, but you want to be extremely confident. And so when they say, do you have any questions for us? And you're going to say, as a matter of fact, I do. You might not say it like that, but you're going to definitely say, as a matter of fact, I do have a few questions. So one of the questions that I would ask is, why is the position available? What are the expectations? You know, what is a typical day in this role look like? What's the company culture? That's something for me guys. Company culture is extremely important to me. In fact, it's enough where I will choose not to work for an organization if I do not like the company culture. I will, and that's just how it is, because culture tells you a lot about the company. And so I would definitely ask those questions. And then because of y'all, I have a very funny, quirky personality. One of the things that that has gotten me the job over and over again, it's not been a lot of jobs that I never got until the pandemic, girl. When the pandemic hit, I wasn't really able to land positions as easily, but that's okay. But anyway, one thing that I would often do is when they would ask me, you know, after I would ask my questions and we had our exchange, they would say, do you have any more questions? I would say yes. And they would say, well, what is it? I was like, when do I start? You know, and they would just die laughing, y'all. It works every time, but it works because of my personality. If you guys don't have like the quirky, funny, kind of bubbly personality, excitable personality that I do, I would still ask that, but I would ask it in the way that feels natural to you, you know. And so, but I do know that it goes across better when you kind of joke. And one more thing, guys, the reason why it goes across really well is because typically people do not ask for the job. Make sure you ask for the job if you really want the job. All right, guys, so we had to switch it up a little bit. So let me go get my iPad. Hold on. So now that we have gotten past the interview, we've sent our thank you letter. We have had our second interview. We have received an offer letter. We are extremely happy with the offer because we're going to be making $150,000 a year. And now it is time to prepare for our first day of work. So guys, my advice is when you have your first day of work, and I know y'all probably like, wait a minute, I'm not, this ain't my first job. I know it's not your first job, but guys, a lot of times, you know, we worked in organizations for so long, we don't know how to, you know, get going when we're in a new environment. So my advice to all of my bombshell girlies who have worked in their positions for a long time, when you leave the said company, you go to the new company, you want to make it look like you are a boss. You want to make it look like you are large and in charge. So the first day on your new job, you want to kind of go in and create certain things. So for example, in your email, you want to make sure that you're going in your email and you're creating folders. You know, what I would do if I were you guys, I would go through the company's intranet, and then I would go source all the way down to my direct position. I would look at the people that are that I would be working with, and I would just create folders with their names on them. So that's something that I would do. I would also read the company's intranet policies. And I'm gonna be honest, girl, another thing that I would do is start looking at the type of certifications that the company offers. And yes, you like, oh no, well, first day, if not your first day, at least within the first week. So I would start looking at whatever certifications the company offers. I would look at how long I needed to be at the company to take advantage of those certifications. And the minute I want to say available, but not available. That's not the word I'm looking for. But the minute that I qualify, if you will, to take those said certifications, I absolutely will. I would not waste any time. So yeah, so that's going to be your first day or your first week of work. That's typically if a company does not have some type of orientation or something like that set up for you. So I just kind of wanted to tell you guys that. So now that we are at our first day of work, typically the hiring manager and the company and the department that you're going to be working with, they are going to ask you to go to lunch. And this when it get real. So you're going to go to lunch, but you're going to be playing a game, okay? So it's going to be two different games going on. It's going to be them trying to get in your business and you trying not to tell them your business. So this not when we gonna go in there and talk about Uncle Leroy. So we gonna save Uncle Leroy for about, they start getting nosy. When they start to get nosy at work? They be starting to get nosy about, maybe about 3 months in. So 3 months in is when you gonna start telling them about Uncle Leroy. You know, and so Uncle Leroy is gonna be your uncle that you can't take care of. So when Uncle Leroy is basically, you're gonna use the Uncle Leroy strategy. So when they say, hey, Rochelle, what did you do this weekend? Yeah, I just took care of my Uncle Leroy. And so that's how you get away from those personal questions. So we kind of deviated a little bit, but let me get back on track. So again, the game that you gonna be playing when they take you to lunch is they're gonna be trying to get in your business and you're gonna be trying to keep them out. So be prepared for the personal questions in which they are going to ask you. So Rochelle, how do you enjoy spending your extra time? And so when I get that question, this is my answer. I just love to read. I love books. I love going to read to kids at the hospital on the weekends. And I love to sleep. But before I go to sleep, I love taking or drinking a warm glass of milk. See guys, you want to use a sleep, read, and warm milk strategy. That's going to win a lot of people over because they're going to be like, she's a snooze fest. She's pretty boring. And that's okay. You want people to think that you pretty boring and you a snooze fest at work. You know what I'm saying? And so again, let's practice this. So Rochelle, what do you enjoy doing on the weekends? Yeah, I just love to read, and sometimes I'll go to the hospital, the children's hospital, and read books to them. And you know, when I'm not reading, I love to sleep. But one thing that does help me sleep is a warm glass of milk. See, y'all see how smooth that was? Y'all see how smooth that was? So we gonna do that. That way, that keeps people out of your business because they're already making certain assumptions about you, despite the fact that you've landed the position. So try to be as vague as possible and try to give as little information as possible, but give enough where they think they know you. See, this is the Capricorn strategy. So y'all, so Capricorns, I'm gonna say this and I'm gonna get back on track. We got this thing that we're really good at. We are good at making people think that they really know us, but they really don't. And the way that I've learned to do that is to tell, people at work one thing about me, and that's the only thing, not anything else, but that one thing I tell them about me, I'm able to expound on that. So then they start thinking like, yeah, her Uncle Leroy, he has a colostomy bag, and yeah, he has Alzheimer's, and so they think that they know a lot about you, and they don't. But I'll typically just lean on that. So that's just because they're gonna be talking about you, girl. They're gonna be talking about you. I'm just letting you know right now, they're gonna be talking about you. So if they're gonna talk about you, give them a lot to talk about, okay? So yeah, so that's what's gonna happen on your first day of work when you have the company lunch. Now, what I would encourage that you do in regards to kind of just doing the whole lunch thing and stuff, guys, one thing that I used to do when I would get in corporate America, I think that I would allow people to take me too fast, too soon. And so you let people take you too fast and too soon. You open up and you start to share, and then you start oversharing, and then you get really close to someone. And then after about 3 to 4 months at the company, you realize like you don't even like this person, and now they're holding a lot of cards and they know a lot of things about you. So don't put yourself in a position where people are taking you too fast. You know what I mean? So just try to temper the things in which you tell them, because you don't want it to come back and bite you. You don't want to have any regrets. As far as lunch, one thing that I would do, especially if I worked in an environment where I was extremely uncomfortable, guys, I'm gonna be honest, I would go to lunch in my car, and then my coworkers would start coming around. Hey Rochelle, you want to go to lunch? And I'm like, yeah, I have a couple of business calls I need to make on my lunch break, or yeah, I have a few things I need to take care of. And so I ain't need to do nothing but just go sit in the car and listen to 2 Chainz. You know what I'm saying? But girl, I would just go sit in my car and I'd be listening to 2 Chainz, and I'd be eating my sausage sandwich with some Cheetos and some juice. That's what I would eat. That's what I would do on my lunch break. And because it was like my own time to, you know, just kind of get away or whatever. And so I would do that or whatever. And so eventually they would just stop asking me to go to lunch. So yeah, so that's pretty much going to, you know, just kind of give you some insight on how to navigate, especially for you guys that are in a new work environment. I did have a question from one of you guys that was a school teacher, and you wrote me and you let me know that you were an educator and you often kind of struggle with, you know, how to pivot. And I did recommend that you look into corporate training, guys. Corporate training, it pays a lot of money. To my bombshells that are in customer service, that's another thing that I want to tell you guys. Guys, always, you know, lean on going in the training direction. That's something that you could do. I probably should have warned y'all that we were about to pivot away from your first day of work back into some possible positions that you can transition into. Y'all know I'll be all over the place. But anyway, so guys, always look into possible training. And that type of stuff. And then another thing, guys, don't be afraid to job hop. A lot of times you don't make as much money as you typically would if you were not willing to job hop. Try to take your emotions out of your, you know, try to disconnect your emotions from the actual job. You know, if a better opportunity comes up, be open and willing to take it. So that's something else that I wanted to tell you guys. Another thing, guys, never be so loyal to a company. You know, don't ever be so loyal and so committed to a company that you're not willing to, you know, to walk away. Because if they decided that they don't, you know, if they decided that they don't want you to be a part of their organization, guess what? They gonna close the door. They are gonna close the door and let you go. And so you don't owe these companies anything. You don't want to be married to a company. Always see what's out there. And then one more thing, guys, y'all, please research your position, girl, because there's so many people who will sit at work just typing away, working and typing and working and shucking and jiving. And girl, found out that their job was up, like literally that someone was in a position, they were interviewing to fill their job. So guys, make sure you are Googling or getting on Indeed or getting on LinkedIn and Googling your position. Make sure that you're doing that, because you know, you might not know that they're looking to bring someone else in. But also when you start having that little feeling, y'all know that little weird feeling, that little, Rochelle, how are you? You already know what that means. And so guys, just make sure that your mind is open, and also make sure that you know, you are always open and ready for other positions. Let me see, what else can I tell you guys? Guys, also, even when you get the position, make sure that your resume is always updated, okay? Make sure that you immediately update your resume as soon as you land another position. Make sure you're doing that, okay? So guys, what I want y'all to do is just ask questions in the comment section, and if I can come up with answers, or I'll try to compile those questions, and maybe we'll do another video like this. Guys, that leads me to this one thing that I am extremely passionate about outside of fashion is anything in regards to career interviewing, career development, you know, upgrading, you know, moving to the next level, leveling up. I am extremely passionate about that. And so I will be creating a lot of content centered around that. And then also, guys, I do want to look into becoming a career coach. That is something that when I close my eyes, y'all, every time I close my eyes. Anyway. Okay, I'm sorry. I'm trying to be serious here. But anyway, guys, literally, when I close my eyes, I can literally see myself doing seminars centered around interview coaching, career coaching, anything and all things regarding career. Literally, that's something that I can see myself doing. And so what I would like for you guys to do for me, since I just gave you all these fabulous interview tips, I would like for you guys to leave me some words of encouragement and some motivational words to help me move forward in my new journey of becoming a career coach. Now guys, we're still going to be doing fun blogs and stuff like that, but in regards to like the career content, we're gonna have fun, but you know, it is going to be more centered around that. And so that's something that I'm looking into in terms of even becoming certified, because I know that there's a certain structure that you should have when it comes to that. Also guys, I would hope, wish, and pray that when I actually get everything up and running and fully become a career coach, that I would have some of you guys as my clients, and that we can hit some of those accomplishments as well as milestones together. But anyway guys, I think this is everything that I have to tell you, girl. Y'all, I've been talking for almost an hour. Y'all know I love to talk. When I do like to talk, baby, I love to talk. But anyway, so yeah, we've been talking for almost an hour. But I just want to wrap this video up, and I just want to say thank you guys for your love, for your support, and for your encouragement. Please let me know if you guys have any additional questions or content suggestions centered around career, leveling up, and interviewing or what have you. I just want to say thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.